She faced the unimaginable horrors of a concentration camp, a place specifically designed to make faith die. But Corrie ten Boom held on to a secret. It wasn't some complex theological argument, but a simple metaphor her father gave her about a train ticket. A secret that holds the key to building absolute trust in God, even when you're surrounded by darkness. What if the key to enduring the darkest moments of your life was as simple as a train ticket? To really get the power of Corrie ten Boom's secret, you have to understand the darkness she walked through. Before the war, Corrie lived a quiet life with her family in Haarlem, Netherlands. They were watchmakers, living above their shop in a home filled with love and a deep Christian faith. Their home, known as the Beige, was a place of peace. But in 1940, the Nazi occupation cast a long, terrifying shadow over their lives. Driven by their belief that all people are precious to God, the family knew they had to act. They joined the Dutch resistance and transformed their home into a refuge. They built a secret room in Corrie's bedroom, a small hiding place behind a false wall, just big enough to hold 6 people. Through their tireless and dangerous work, the ten Boom family is estimated to have saved the lives of around 800 Jews and others fleeing persecution. But their courage came at a terrible cost. On February 28, 1944, they were betrayed. Though the hidden people were never found, Corrie, her sister Betsy, and their 84-year-old father Caspar were arrested. Caspar died just 10 days later in prison. For Corrie and Betsy, this was only the beginning of their journey into the heart of human cruelty. Ravensbrück was a living nightmare. A world of starvation, brutal labor, and constant death. It was a place designed to extinguish hope, to crush the human spirit, and to make anyone believe that God had abandoned the world. This was the unimaginable darkness that Corrie faced, and it begs the question, how could faith possibly survive in a place like Ravensbrück? The secret to Corrie's survival wasn't something she found in the camp. It was planted in her heart years earlier by her father. The wisdom came from a simple, everyday conversation about train travel. In her book, The Hiding Place, Corrie recalls a time as a child when she was suddenly overwhelmed by a fear of death, terrified of losing her family.
Corrie, when you and I go to Amsterdam, when do I give you your ticket?
Why, just before we get on the train.
Exactly. And our wise Father in heaven knows when we're going to need things too. Don't run out ahead of him, Corrie. When the time comes that some of us will have to die, you will look into your heart and find the strength you need, just in time.
That single conversation became the bedrock of Corrie's faith. God's provision of strength is like a train ticket. He doesn't give it to you weeks in advance for a journey you haven't started. He gives it to you at the precise moment you need to step onto the train. This simple analogy grew into one of her most famous sayings. When a train goes through a tunnel and it gets dark, you don't throw away the ticket and jump off. You sit still and trust the engineer. In the darkness of Ravensbrück, this metaphor became her lifeline. The camp was the tunnel. The blackness was absolute. Every instinct might scream to panic, to give up, to throw away the ticket of faith and jump. But Corrie understood. Her job wasn't to see the end of the tunnel. Her job was to sit still, hold on to her faith and trust the engineer, God, who was still in control, even when she couldn't see or feel it. So how do we take this powerful idea and use it in our own lives? Corrie's secret isn't just for surviving a concentration camp. It's for surviving the personal tunnels we all face. Grief, illness, financial hardship, or a crisis of faith. First, God provides the strength we need when we need it. We often look at a future trial and say, I could never handle that. I don't have the strength. And you know what? We're right, we don't. We don't have tomorrow's strength today, just like we don't have a train ticket for a journey that begins next month. Corrie put it perfectly. Worrying is carrying tomorrow's load with today's strength, carrying 2 days at once. It just drains the energy you need for today's challenges. Trusting God means believing that when the train of tomorrow's trial arrives, the ticket of His grace will be waiting for you. He provides grace for your reality, moment by moment, not for your imagination. Think about your own life. Are you trying to carry the weight of a hypothetical future? The first step to unshakable faith is letting go of the need for future grace and trusting God's provision for this moment. The second principle flows right from the first. Worry is useless. As Corrie said, worrying does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow, it empties today of its strength. When the train is in the tunnel, you can't see the tracks ahead or the light at the end. Worrying about the darkness won't make the light appear any faster. It just makes the ride more miserable. Jumping off the train, giving in to panic and despair, isn't an option. It only leads to a crash. The only logical thing to do is trust the one who laid the tracks and is driving the engine. Corrie taught that there is no panic in heaven. God has plans, not problems. From our perspective in the dark tunnel, things can look chaotic. But from the engineer's perspective, the course is set and the exit is guaranteed. Your role isn't to be the engineer, it's to be a passenger who trusts. When you feel the darkness closing in, ask yourself, is my worry changing anything, or is it just stealing my strength for today? The final principle is about the power of now. Faith isn't lived in the past or the future, it's lived in the present moment. In Ravensbrück, Corrie and her sister Betsy discovered that their inner life with God could grow stronger even as their external life grew more horrible. They did this by focusing on what God was giving them right then and there. They had smuggled a Bible into the camp and held secret worship services in their flea-infested barracks. In fact, the guards refused to enter the barracks because of the fleas. Betsy even insisted they thank God for the fleas, because those very pests gave them the freedom to minister to other prisoners without interference. They weren't thanking God for the suffering, but for the fact that he could use even the most horrible circumstances for good in that moment. It means looking for God's hand, not just after the tunnel, but inside it. It's asking, God, what strength have you given me for today? What opportunity, however small, exists for faith right now? This practice builds the muscle of unshakable faith, proving day by day that the engineer is still with you. This trust wasn't just a nice idea, it was put to the ultimate test. The climax came in December 1944. Betsy, her health failing from starvation and illness, grew weaker and weaker. Yet even as she was dying, she didn't throw away her ticket. Instead, she shared a vision with Corrie of a rehabilitation center they would build for survivors after the war. Her faith saw beyond the tunnel. Her last words to Corrie were, "There is no pit so deep, the love of God is not deeper still." Betsy died on December 16, 1944. Corrie was alone in the deepest part of the tunnel. Just 12 days later, her name was called. She was being released. She would later learn it was due to a clerical error. Just after Corrie was freed, the SS installed a gas chamber at Ravensbrück and the mass exterminations began. Her release came at the last possible moment. God had given her the strength to endure her sister's death. And then, just in time, he provided the ticket out of the camp itself. He hadn't been early, he hadn't been late. He was exactly on time. This experience became the unshakable proof behind her life's message. God's timing is perfect, and his grace is sufficient for the moment you are in. He is a trustworthy engineer. Corrie ten Boom emerged from the darkness not broken, but forged. She spent the rest of her life traveling to more than 60 countries, sharing the secret of the train ticket. She even forgave her former Nazi guards, proving that the love of God was indeed deeper than any pit of hatred. Her story leaves us with a life-altering truth. Whatever tunnel you find yourself in today, whether it's the shadow of grief, the darkness of anxiety, or the uncertainty of the future, your ticket is your faith. Don't throw it away. Don't jump from the train. Sit still and trust the engineer. He knows the way. He laid the tracks. He will see you through to the light. God hasn't promised a journey without tunnels, but he has promised to be with us through every one of them. If this story has inspired you, please take a moment to subscribe for more messages of hope and faith. We would love to hear from you in the comments. What tunnel are you facing in your own life? Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs to read today. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that even in the darkest of tunnels, they are not alone. Thank you for watching, and remember to trust the engineer.